Join us as we converse with CBPA students here at Burawin Community College. This discussion will cover global city or global ethics, demography, global migration, food insecurity or pagpak, ecosystem protection and climate change. So good afternoon, Kuya. I am Jonaline D. Pokpok from BPA 103 and today I am here with my co-interviewer. She is...
I'm Marin C. Malo.
So today po, we're here to conduct an interview regarding with our final output. What's your name po?
So, I am John Revin B. Francisco, a current fourth year student, Bachelor of Public Administration student. Yeah. Sure. And siguro, currently the OIC or the officer in charge of answering publication here in BCC.
So is it okay po if we ask some questions about global migration?
Sure.
So here's the first question. What are the main push and pull factors driving Filipino professionals to work abroad? What is your idea on how these factors contribute to brain drain, skills mismatch, and their impact on the country's workforce and economy?
Siguro, hasyahan ko nga part, the main reason why Filipinos go to abroad because of kanan differences in salary.
Kuya, this is the second question. What is your belief in the role of the Philippines government and industries in addressing brain drain and skills mismatch by improving local job opportunities, especially in key sectors like healthcare and education?
So, I would be database la ini nga parte it job brain drain and skills mismatch nga di especially sector it education and health. So, the government is doing their thing, man. The problem is, dirira, I can say siguro nga, dirira time related or time conscious and timeline ba diri applicable na niya na kay damo na ang mga Pilipinos nga namimiling trabaho.
So the number 3 question, what role do foreign countries play in attracting Filipino professionals? What do you think the government should focus on to make local jobs more competitive, reduce brain drain, and address skills mismatch?
Siguro naging role foreign countries tida is para bagan it's for them na magkada gihapon in capacity, magkada dugangan ni tira capacity because siguro Philippines is a populated country.
So moving on the ecosystem protection and climate change. So here's for the first question. In your opinion, despite the completion of 5,500 flood control projects under the Marcos administration, why do areas like NCR still experience severe flooding during typhoons? Do you believe President Marcos' flood control initiatives have been successful or insufficient?
Siguro, to direct answer the question, it was insufficient. Tungod kay, although 5,500 ito na flood control projects na iyan na implement, how can we assure nga ito na 5,500 nga flood controls is nadara? We do not know kung pera nadara or pero amo to ng numbers nga 5,500.
This is the second question. What actions should communities and government take to protect local ecosystems such as forests, mangroves, and wetlands while addressing climate change and meeting the needs with growing populations? How can ecosystem protection improve flood management and disaster reliance in flood-prone areas?
So, relatedly what iton nga bagan pag-protect it aton forest or ecosystem, it plays a vital role in nga diha current situation natin pertaining the environment as climate change baga nagtitika extreme na climate change. We need the government and the community must join force together and create certain projects.
The last question. If you had to choose between former President Duterte and President Marcos in terms of handling the completion of flood control infrastructure, budgets, governance, and actions during calamities, who do you think was more effective in managing the country's infrastructure, disaster response, and climate resilience? Why?
If ako papakianhan, since I both witnessed those two presidents, I can say nga for me, Marcos it mas na-implement niya mas maupay it mga projects related flood control and pag-akniya ha mga climate na disturbances na.
From his point, the main reason behind the global migration here in our country was the lack of job opportunities, the workloads and salary that the other country could offer to Filipinos who dreamed to have a better life. According to him, the government was exerting their efforts in assessing this type of issues, but the government has been lacking of their time frame on this type of issue. Upon talking to Mr. Francisco, he also suggested that the local government should take actions regarding with the salary rate increase in every provinces to gain more competitive skilled workers. Mr. Francisco states that preserving our planet to lessen the effect of the climate change would be very beneficial in the coming future. He also stated that government and the community should communicate with each other to build projects that would be very helpful in our environment. For him, President Marcos could effectively implemented those flood control projects than the former President Duterte. He based his answer on the sauna that our President Marcos had attended. For Mr. Francisco, protecting our environment plays a vital role in our life as a citizen of our own nation. We should work with the government to have a better, sustainable, and a cleaner future together.
According to Ms. Dolor, the Philippines has a chance to be one of those global cities. But according to her, it still depends on the types of leader that our country had. From her point of view, the Philippine situations of the Philippines, she couldn't see the potentials of our country being one of those globalized cities. For a reason that people are being too dependent on the government. The strategies that Marcos administration should take focus on was organizing the urban cities. She also stated that the government should set standards for us to have the standards too. For her, the Duterte administration was more effective in war on drugs. She also concluded that as a Filipino, we should take steps too to help the government in shaping our country into a more globalized city.
Pagbag, a colloquial Filipino term, refers to recycled or fried food, typically sold as an affordable meal, often originating from leftover scraps collected from restaurants, food establishments, and markets. Pagbag is repeated, mixed, and served. This coping mechanism reflects resourcefulness amidst poverty and food insecurity. However, pagbag raises health concerns due to potential bacterial growth, contamination, and nutritional deficiencies. Addressing pagbag consumption requires comprehensive solution, including food assistance programs, nutrition education, sustainable food system, and economic empowerment.